Good morning. Whether you're here in the sanctuary or watching on the stream at home, welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of the Desert. I'm Joni Padduck, and I will be your worship associate alongside our dear Reverend Ian Riddell. Before we begin, please take a moment to check your cell phones. Invariably, someone's goes off during the service, so please check and silence your cell phone or whatever else might make some noise during the service. Here, as we do every week, we acknowledge that we are gathered on the unceded lands of the Agua Caliente Band of Cahuilla people. We commit to grow in our understanding and relationship with this land and the people who inhabited it and nurtured it before our arrival. We want you to know that we strive to honor the inherent worth and dignity of every being, and that you are welcome no matter your sexual orientation or gender identity, your age, your size, whether you're rich or poor. We welcome people of all races, religions, and cultures. We welcome you wherever you come from and whoever you love. We welcome all those who will learn and grow with us as we commit together to embrace the rich and beautiful diversity of the world. Our goal here is to build a community centered in justice, compassion, and love. And now, please join us as Reverend Ian rings our Tibetan bowl and we listen to our fabulous Joel Baker play the music for centering to begin our service.
Good morning and welcome. However you found us, however many times you've been with us here, in person or online, welcome. We are a congregation grounded in our commitment to love, an evolving tradition that celebrates the richness and beauty of individual lives and commits to working together to weave a tapestry made stronger and more vibrant by our collaboration and by the sharing of our lives and our visions for a thriving, loving, and just future for all of us, for all of our neighbors, and for all of life. We gather this morning in community hearing the call of the covenant of service and relationship that we share with all of creation. It is the call of joy beckoning us to live our lives more fully. It is the call of love reminding us that we are known and seen and held. It is the call of relationship, inviting us to awaken to one another. It is the call of abundance, compelling us to lives of generosity, service, and gratitude. Here may we reawaken to that call. Here may we find the courage to answer. Come, let us worship together. I want to let you know I'm having some technology issues today, and neither printer will work with my computers, and my iPad isn't working either. So I'm preaching from my laptop today, friends. It's new. Friends, will you join me now in that spirit of generosity, of service, of joy and love and relationship? Will you rise, please, in body or in spirit as we sing together our opening song, Gather the Spirit.
Witness the midst of
Now, if you would join me as I read our chalice lighting words of aspiration as Ken Hyam comes forward to light our chalice to begin our service this morning. We light our chalice as a symbol of gratitude as we celebrate the abundance of our lives together. In this sanctuary, we harvest bushels of strength for one another and offer our crop with the hands of compassion and generosity. In the authentic and gentle manner of our connections, we cultivate a simple sweetness to brighten our spirits. May we be grateful for the ways we nourish and uplift each other, for it is the sharing of this hallowed time together that sustains us. Thank you, Ken. Now please join me with the words on the screen as we honor the diversity we strive for in this congregation. I'd like to invite Jean Kane forward to light the candles. We light these candles in solidarity with Black, Indigenous, and other people of color as we journey together towards spiritual wholeness. May we, as a beloved community, work to dismantle racism and all forms of oppression. May we live out our values so that justice, dignity, and equity for all prevail. Thank you, Jean. Let me take a moment to honor the ancestors of this church. Let the people who first came together to create a home for this liberal religion here at UCOD, who worked to raise money for this building, who sat in committee meetings and created bylaws, who chopped and marinated and baked for potlucks, who painted and weeded and pounded nails and washed countless dishes, who gathered to worship, to learn, to grieve, to heal, to serve, to build justice, to transform their lives and this world. We are the recipients of an incredible gift and a beautiful vision. Let us do our part to keep this congregation strong, vital, and thriving for the generations to come.
I'll be talking a little bit about this more later, but it is the beginning of our annual pledge drive this year. Thank you very much, Randy. It is the beginning of our annual pledge drive, and as part of our pledge drive, we share testimonials from folks who have given to the life of this congregation and continue to. So today we have two of those. We're going to start with a video from the chair of our finance committee, the chair of our pledge drive, Chris Eager, and then we'll hear from Jerry Lamadou. Here's Chris.
Good morning. My name is Chris Eager. For the past several years, I have had the honor of being your pledge drive chair. Today, we are kicking off the 2025-2026 pledge drive. Last year's pledge drive goal was $190,000. This year's goal is $215,000. Now, I know that an increase of $25,000 may sound like a lot of money, but we do have 15 new members this year. I want you to know that this is our largest number of new members in over a decade. Let's give our congregation a round of applause. Isn't it wonderful that we are thriving in these challenging times? I really believe that this will continue as we navigate the next 4 years. The Finance Committee has recommended this increase to the board so that we are able to fund the following greatly needed issues. 1, repairing and resurfacing our parking lot. 2, improving accessibility parking. 3, building reserves for our minister's sabbatical. And 4, funding to pay outside vendors and maintenance people for our building and equipment that we do not have the expertise or the time to do ourselves. This year, Finance Committee members and others have graciously volunteered to be your stewards. An initial email will be sent out to everyone. If the steward does not hear back from you, they will call to ask if you have any questions and request your pledge. In addition, Sarita Gonzalez and Ginger Hemingway will be staffing an information table on the terrace every Sunday to assist anyone who needs help completing their pledge form. You can also drop your pledge form off with them. We hope that you will respond in a timely manner. Please also keep in mind that we welcome pledges from friends and visitors who enjoy attending our services. You do not need to be a member to give. Just as we welcome all, we welcome your money too. I know, bad joke. Finally, during the pledge drive, you will hear testimonials each Sunday from 4 members of our congregation. Today, you will hear from Jerry Lumdu, our wonderful treasurer. During the following weeks, you will hear from Denise Jansen-Eager, our social justice chair, Ginger Hemingway, a member of our finance committee, and myself. Please give as generously as you are able. I don't need to tell you that it's for a good cause, our beloved community. And now, please welcome Jerry Lumdu. Thank you.
Was that for me or was it for Chris? I think Chris has a promising career as a future treasurer. He did very, very good. So good morning. To follow up on Chris's comments, I just wanted to let you know that the pledge drive started yesterday, and as of this morning, we've collected $43,000 towards our goal of $215,000. So. I'd also like to take a second to talk about yesterday. We actually started the pledge drive yesterday, and we had a bingo party in the afternoon, which was, I think, a huge success. I think that it was a rowdy group of people there. And having been a member of the table number 3, where I think it was the rowdiest, I want to apologize to Reverend Ian and to Linda Savard, who was our callers. We were like middle school children. We were chatting, and we were whispering, and we were giggling. It was pure joy for us. It was lovely, lovely, lovely. And when we look at the world today, it was nice to see everyone have such a good time. So bingo's on for me going forward. Before my husband and I retired, we laid out a few goals for our new life. We wanted to remain active. As I frequently say, I want to live an active senior lifestyle. We wanted to volunteer and give back to our community, and we knew we were going to have to build a new community as we moved from Los Angeles into the valley. And we needed to build what we call a logical family versus a biological family. We have some friends who call it kin of intention, I believe. So in addition, for several years before we moved, Rob had been looking for a faith committee to join, and I have to say, without much success. So that was on his bucket list as well. And after about a year of living in the desert, actually I think this month, we discovered UUCOD, and as they said, the rest is sort of history. Our relationship with our church community has grown progressively deeper and richer over the past 8 years. We've developed wonderful, deep, loving, respectful relationships with so many members and friends. Working together on committees, social activities, and other church activities has helped Rob and me understand the depth of character and caring so many of you possess in this community. We're honored to call many of you our very good friends. The UU values and principles and our members and friends provide both Rob and I, all of us really, a space that's safe and loving. Our diversity in thought challenges me and helps me become a better person. As an example, how many of you remember gathering on the Labyrinth on a winter solstice day several years ago and learning about Mother Earth and the seasons from a Wiccan as she led us to a pagan ceremony? That is diversity in action, I would say. Our community continues to challenge us as we embrace diversity and expand our scope of our reality. As a board member and a member of the stewardship committee, and as the church treasurer, I've had a wonderful and unique opportunity to meet and work with so many of you. I would say I've touched somehow each and every one of you over the course of the last 8 years, and it's been my honor to do that. I've loved meeting and working with all of you. I've seen the thousands of hours that so many of our members and friends contribute to fulfill the mission of UUCOD year after year after year. Just look around you now and see the faces of the people who donated their time and their talents and their treasures to make today and every day at UUCOD happen. When I think about the commitment of our members and friends and all that they do, I'm simply in awe at your generosity. When I talk about members and friends contributing to our community, I'm sorry I get a little emotional here about this. I love all of you people. So when I talk about members and friends contributing to our community, I always try to end with the words, as you are able. Regardless of your circumstances, we ask only that you give your time and your talents and your treasures as you are able. And we hope that our community ranks highly when you consider your charitable contributions. Each of us has special talents and interests that can benefit our community. I think Rob's and my retirement has worked out pretty well. We've established a wonderful community of loving people. We've identified volunteer opportunities within our church community that keep us active, engaged, and utilize some of our strengths. We have found a safe and loving spiritual home. Thank you, Reverend Ian. We can't predict the future, but for now, Rob and I will continue to contribute our time, our talents, and our treasure as we are able, and we hope you will do as well. Thank you for making us a part of your logical family and being the kind of people that you are. Thank you.
Thank you, Jerry, and thank you, Chris. I'm sure Chris will be delighted to know the laughter he brought us all in the midst of a message. We contribute, each of us, to this community as we're able in the ways that we have strengths. We bring our strengths to this place to share them. And we bring our weaknesses, our challenges, hoping for hope or support or just witness to the lives that we live. We live in a world today of challenge, to put it mildly. We are faced with a new way of experiencing our world, and we carry so much in our hearts, in our minds, in our spirits, and don't forget, we carry it in our bodies as well. If you're like me, I know that my body, my shoulders have been tense, my gut has been tense, my jaw is aching. And I want to acknowledge to you that that is unfortunately a normal response to what we are living through these days. And so would I invite you to be comfortable, relaxed in your seat. If breathing deeply calms you down, then breathe deeply, be centered, be relaxed. Know that you are here in this space right now. The rest of the world is there. Our homes are there, our communities, our nation are all there, but at the moment we are here in this space with these beloved creatures around us. Breathe into that space. Breathe into this space that we hope is a safe one. Breathe into this space that we hope, that we strive to make one of acceptance, of diversity, of the richness of the differences between us, and the depth of the connections between us as well. We come into this space in need, spirit of life, in need of so many things. We come into this space in need of calm and connection and quiet in the face of the storm of the world. Storm of oppression, the storm of discrimination, of greed, storm of cruelty. We come to this place in need of quiet, calm. And we come into this place in need of a place that will hold our anger at that world, that will remind us that that anger is a holy thing that can fire our actions in the world, can fire us to remember to not just hide away, but to act, to be our neighbor's keeper, to speak out for truth, to speak out for justice, to not remain silent in the face of censorship and silencing. We come to this place with both of these needs, need for quiet and calm, and a need for inspiration and reminder for action. And so we gather here in this room, breathing together, joyful, glad in each other's company, the love in each other's hearts shared, the warm, kind touch of each other's hand on our shoulders, the sparkle in each other's eyes, those ears that will hear our grief and our anger and our anxiety, those arms and that love that will hold us, that will remind us that we are not alone, that there is time for quiet and calm and breathing, and there is also time for action, for speaking, for doing, for refusing to comply to evil. With both of these things in our hearts, we pause in silence in the arms of the love which is broader and deeper than we can ever know, and which holds us all in its embrace. May all beings know peace. May all beings know an end to suffering. May all beings know love and kindness and justice. May it be so. Friends, will you join your voices as we sing together Spirit of Life, Fuente de Amor?
Justice, roots holding
You have healing voices, friends. And so, this is the day when we are kicking off our annual pledge drive, the time of year when we look deeply at what we have and can do and make plans and promises about how we're going to support this religious community and its work in our hearts and in the world. It should never be an afterthought. It should never be a topic that we shy away from in our services, I don't think. We have visions individually and as a community of who we are and who we want us to be in the world, ideas about what needs to be transformed to bring justice, peace, and kindness into our lives and into the lives of others. And we make plans and we gather the tools for that transformation. And money is one of those tools. Our time and our skills are part of that toolbox to bring transformation. And the way we spend that money, the budgets and planning that we do, says so much about who we are and what we want our work to be. Our budget is a moral document that reflects our values in very concrete ways. So we need to know what resources we have to build that document. And one way we do that is to ask all and each of us for a pledge, a promise of what we're going to give to add to the financial thriving of this community. Now, I want to pause here for a second. Everywhere we turn these days, it seems that our communities and our neighbors and our deepest values are being assaulted or dismantled. The leaders of our government are bent on reshaping our way of living toward greed and ego and cruelty. It's overwhelming, I know. And I know that I'm not alone when I share that I'm feeling anger and heartbreak, along with some fear and anxiety. And it may feel odd and out of sync to spend time today concentrating inward on our community and how we support it financially. It does feel odd. And I'm feeling called to sit with that oddness, to sit with some discomfort and invite us to think about it a little differently. Not as inward gazing, not as ignoring the world, but as part of a realization that our survival as a community, our existence as a community, is actually important. It's important for those of us in this space. It's important for those of our members and friends who are not here with us this moment. It's important for our neighbors that we support and strengthen communities founded in love and working for peace and justice. Communities like ours that celebrate values of interdependence and pluralism and love in the face of separation and greed and cruelty, that celebrate values like generosity. And we so often think of generosity as an individual action, as my one choice or my family's choice to help out, to give money or time or talent, a one-way endeavor. But so much of what we know and have learned about generosity is that at its best and most powerful, it grows out of relationship and helps build and nurture those relationships. Mark Ewart, in his book, The Generosity Path, shares that generosity causes something new to be produced, either a connection between people or between people and organizations. It's generative, not static. It's not just about one person or a group giving in one direction, and it's not only about giving to get something in return. Being generous creates something new between and among people. Thich Nhat Hanh reminds us that true generosity is not a trade or a bargaining strategy. In true giving, there is no thought of giver and recipient. This is called the emptiness of giving, he said, in which there is no perception of separation between the one who gives and the one who receives. This, he says, is the practice of generosity given in the spirit of wisdom with the understanding of our interbeing. And so our generosity grows out of our knowledge that all of our lives, all of life, in fact, is woven together into a fabric, a vast web, and that our generosity brings energy and possibility and diversity and richness to that web. And it's not just about money either. Generosity encompasses so many ways we have of being in community, sharing of our treasures, true, but also our time and our talents, our skills and our interests. We build our community together by actively being generous and sharing the work of helping this community thrive. We envision together, we plan and practice together, we play together, even bingo, and lead each other in play. We build and fix and clean and design and craft together. We commit our time and the work of our hands to helping this community thrive. We sing in the choir, we serve on the board, we run our Sunday morning audiovisuals, we help keep our grounds and the living things who call them home healthy and thriving. We make our space beautiful and clean and safe. We teach classes and we learn together. We count our offerings and we work together to monitor and guide the financial health of our community. We come together to learn and to plan how to be good neighbors in our community, to help those in need and build partnerships that help more and more and more people in our valley thrive. All of this is the living out of a spirit of generosity. It's what makes this community work and what makes its thriving a possibility. Now, often at this time of year, when we talk about giving in community, we ministers pull out an old story, told many times over and over again so that it might have become a cliche. It is told in many ways and said in many places and times, and it's often told in a way that is about tricking people into giving more than they want to reveal that they have. It can feel a little manipulative. But recently I came across, a couple of years ago, I came across a retelling of the story by author John J. Muth that was subtly different. And so today, in honor of the potluck soup luncheon we are going to have after the service, I'm going to tell the story of stone soup. I got you there, didn't I? Okay, good, yeah. This version of the story tells of three monks on a journey to learn more about happiness, who are traveling along the road and find themselves in a village that has suffered from difficult days. The villagers were exhausted and wary of outsiders and of each other. Does that feel like anything you know? The villagers did their daily work only with themselves in their hearts and paid little attention to their neighbors. None of them came to greet the visiting monks. They didn't even look out their shuttered windows. The monks realized how unhappy the villagers were and decided to teach them how to make stone soup. They built a fire and put a pot on top of it. And a child who was out wandering around asked them what they were doing. And the monks said they were making stone soup and needed 3 small stones. The child left and returned a moment later with 3 small stones. "Thank you," said the monks, and they put the stones in the pot with water from the well. Now, smelling the smoke from the fire, the villagers looked out and saw them monks around the pot. Visitors had never done something that strange before. So the monks told them when they asked that they were making stone soup, and one of the monks mentioned that the traditional way to make it was with salt and pepper, but they had none. Well, one of the villagers said, "I have salt and pepper." And they left and returned a moment later with salt and pepper, which the monks put gratefully into the pot along with some other spices that the other villagers had brought them. "I remember the last time we made this," said one of the monks, "and how wonderful it tasted because of the carrots. But we have no carrots." "Well, I have a couple of carrots," said one of the villagers, and they left and returned a moment later with carrots, which the monks put gleefully and gratefully into the pot. "I wonder how it would be with onions," asked one of the monks, and a villager ran off and returned a moment later with onions, which went into the pot. "It is a good soup, but it would be so much better with mushrooms." And several villagers ran off and returned a moment later with several handfuls of various mushrooms and cabbage and peas, all of which went into the pot. Each time a villager went to fetch something for the soup, another villager was inspired and went for more. One brought dumplings, One brought tofu and yams and garlic and beans. Tofu is really good in soup. All of the villagers ran home and found more and more for the rich, aromatic, beautiful soup, and then it was ready to eat. Villagers brought rice and tea and cakes, and they all sat down together to eat the soup and enjoy each other's company. And after that, they had celebrated late into the night. They invited the monks into their homes, where they slept peacefully and in happiness. The next morning, the monks thanked their hosts and welcoming them and treating them so well. "No, thank you," said the villagers. "You have reminded us of who we are. We remember now that sharing and being together bring us happiness and strength." And as the monks left, they knew that this village, which had been exhausted and weary the day before, was full of happiness and generosity now, all thanks to a little stone soup. I don't think we have stone soup today, but we have a lot of other delicious soup that I know you can start to smell it happening, I think. For me, what makes this story hum, what makes it live in my heart and my memory, despite hearing it over and over again, is it's not a story of individual heroism or of violently overcoming overwhelming odds. It's a story of generosity begetting generosity, of curiosity winning out over shutting ourselves away from the world and from strangers. The monks and the villagers together realized that being generous, being kind, working together to create something to be enjoyed by everyone can break us out of our isolation, can bring happiness or at least an easing of loneliness and mistrust. And now, here, in the face of this uncertainty and grief and anxiety and anger that we are bombarded with by our national experience, we choose to remember that nurturing a spirit of generosity in our hearts and in our communities can be constructive and healing and life-giving. Giving our time and effort can bring deeper connection. It can shake us out of apathy and loneliness. It can help ensure that this community that we build together every day will continue to be a place that offers hope and connection and transformation. Over the next weeks, you're going to hear from several more people about how this community is important to them and how giving to it, giving money and the work of head, heart, and hands, how giving to it is a spiritual practice and a commitment. And so, as the days and weeks ahead unfold, as we move into the pain and cruelty of our political and economic reality, as we continue to grapple with the distrust and fear and grief and loneliness that have seemingly become our companions in this country these days, I'll invite you to ask yourself the question, what is the most generous response I can have to this situation? When someone comes to you and shares fear of losing their job or their health care, when they come to you and you hear stories of families having to move because their trans children are threatened, when you have people and the news tells you, when you experience in your own life fear and anxiety for your safety, your physical safety, your economic safety, your social safety, ask yourself, what is the most generous response I can have to this situation? Or a question that Adrienne Marie Brown asks, are you actively practicing generosity and vulnerability in order to make the connections between you and others clear, open, available, and durable? As you face the world and ask yourself, what is the most generous response I can have to this situation? That response may be giving money. That response may be giving time. That response may be refusing to say yes to tyranny. That response may be speaking up in a conversation with a loved one who wonders what's going on. That response may be choosing safety for yourself and for your neighbor. Whatever that response is, whatever the situation is, what is the most generous response which we can have in this situation? Holding that question in your hearts, my friends, blessed be. And there's a lot of seriousness going on in the world, as always. And Jerry reminded us of the moments of joy from bingo yesterday, the moments of joy we can find. We cannot forget that in the face of the world, we can choose to be generous. We can choose to be kind. We can choose to offer safety, and we can choose to celebrate joy, because joy brings us so many gifts. And so, friends, I'm going to invite you to rise in body or in spirit, and I'm going to invite you to sing joyfully together. You may not feel joyful right now. Maybe your joy is defiance. Maybe your joy is a joy that grows out of the sadness that you feel. But I invite you, please, to rise in body or spirit. We're going to sing and rejoice. We're going to sing it twice through in unison, and then we're going to break it into 4 parts. Oh, you do that to me. You can do it. Here we go. And sing and rejoice, sing and rejoice. Let all things living now sing and again. Sing and rejoice, sing and rejoice. May all things living now sing and rejoice. Sing and rejoice, 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 sing and rejoice. Everybody together. Sing and rejoice, sing and rejoice. May all things living now sing and rejoice. Yes.
Okay, now is the time in our service for our congregational news, and I just have a few. From Mel Wilkinson, all of the sign-up sheets for our various activities are now hanging on the magnetic wall between the sanctuary doors out in the foyer. Remember to check out various volunteer opportunities available. For example, the patio sale is coming up. Nobody's surprised to hear that. And needs lots of bodies to assist with the various things that need to be done. Or sign up to bring flowers on an upcoming Sunday, but please remember no lilies. People have problems with their throat with the fragrance of the lilies. There are too many opportunities to talk about right now, so please check out the list on the magnetic board. An additional request about volunteering comes from Tracy Flynn, who organizes our greeters, ushers, and lobby security. Please look for her sign-up sheets for February and March so she can begin to plan. Also, in 2 weeks from today, on February 16th, we're going to hold our Blessing of the Animals service at UCOD. The service will be held on the patio with a small number of chairs inside in here if you would rather sit inside, and it will be appearing on the screens, but the service itself will take place out on the patio. The AV, as a result of being out on the patio, is going to be a little less technical than it normally is, but there will be AV. You're welcome and encouraged to bring your animals as long as they're on a leash or in a cage or a crate or somehow contained. Please. You're also invited to bring photos of your pets who have passed, or if you don't want to bring your pet, you can bring a photo of the pet and it'll be put on a table out on the patio. Reverend Ian is going to do the blessing of the animals, so it should be enjoyable. From Jane Beth Stover about the yard sale. It's on March 7th and 8th, as you all probably know. We need your donations and help with the sale. Together we will make it the best sale ever. Jane, where's Jane? Yeah, she is over there. So see her outside. She's going to have a table in the patio with the volunteer sign-up sheets, and she'll be available to answer any questions you have. From Rod Belshie, Bruce Watts, a leading local nature photographer and great naturalist, will be giving his talk, Butterfly Secrets Revealed here at UCOD. His photographs repeatedly win Best of Show, and his talks are often standing room only. If you didn't buy tickets at the auction, you can still buy tickets online or at the door. Make plans to join us on February 8th. What time is that, Rod? It was 6 o'clock, thank you. And from Cheryl Eaton, you're all invited to stay, as you've heard a few times. 13 soup cookers have donated some yummy sounding soups for you to enjoy. Bakers have baked fresh bread for you as well. Visitors and guests are also encouraged to join us. And that does it for now. We will now extinguish the chalice with the words on the screen. Please let the gentle glow of it stay with you when you leave this sacred place. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
Before I share my closing words with you, I neglected one of our joys and sorrows that had been sent in. I apologize. So I will share that Mel shares that Jane Zahn had her surgery on Thursday morning and is home now and in full recovery mode. She gives thanks to everyone for sending positive and healing energy, which is helping make this path much easier. Lots of love from Jane and Mel. My apologies for missing that earlier. Friends, the Buddha said that hatred will never cease by hatred. It will only cease by love. As we turn our hearts and minds to our daily lives, once again, may our lives be given not to hate, but to love, not to indifference, but to kindness, and not to fear and isolation, but to the generosity of the Spirit that can remind us of our interconnections, that can help us make our dreams reality, and that can deepen our relationships with each other and with all of life, that can build safety and trust and love in our hearts, our families, our neighborhoods, and communities. Go in peace, my friends, to love and serve the world.